Okay, peace, y'all. So we're gonna get started today um, in just a couple moments. We are in like week 4 this week, talking about facilitation and group agreements. And basically, we brought in a couple folks from co-ops and collectives to talk to us about, how meeting processes are going for them, like what it looks like inside of their collective or cooperative. Hopefully, some of that experience, information will be useful for you all. So as you're either building your own co-op or getting more linked in to an existing one, you'll have some more tools, frameworks, understandings of how some of this stuff works. So yeah, for day 14 today, we asked for most people or everyone to be here live so we can be involved in this chat. There won't be like prompts for today. It'll just be watching this and being involved. Okay, so we have one of the folks that we invited today, Mama Mia, who works at Repaired Nations, is also one of the founders of Authentic African, and is also involved in another emerging cooperative collective project. So happy to have her in, and hopefully Princess from Cooperation Richmond will also be joining us. Co-op Richmond is a similar to Repaired Nations, like a cooperative development organization that also incorporates cooperative, collective decision making and things like that. So hopefully Princess will be able to come and talk with us about that. But if not, we've got Mama Mia here. I could speak about what's going on at the Sustainable Economies Law Center, what happened in EBPREC, what's going on in Wakanda. Is also able to talk about like meeting processes from Repaired Nations and Wakanda and Good Juju, Good Vibes, as well as Co-op Richmond. So there's a fair amount of experience in the room. But maybe first we can, Mama Mia, let you introduce yourself before we get into the questions, Q&As and stuff like that.
Yes, of course. Good morning, everyone. Yes, Mama Mia Jackson, and background actually in like working in a corporate setting. And so I've, experienced meetings on that side, but also in the cooperative, and I can speak to how different they are. Let's see, currently I've organized quite a few projects and as well as having the business. So yeah, a lot of different perspectives that way. I'm a seamstress, organizer, administrator, and just everyone's friend. So I'm open for any questions.
Les, thank you. So I'll start it off for us, cohort members, and then you all are welcome to think of questions, bring them in as well, either through the chat, or if you want to speak up, I'll designate the spaces where it's most appropriate to do that. Would you like to introduce your co-op experience at all? I kind of prefaced a little bit.
Yeah, so man, Brother Tut, part of a few cooperatives and collectives, forming cooperatives. And yeah, from starting converting my own business into a cooperative, joining a collective cooperative incubation organization, and then also doing work with Repair Nations and around the Wakanda project. It's just beautiful, man, and it's always challenging, but the rewards always outweigh the tension, or I should say, the resistance to formulate a new way of thinking of how to work better with individuals, to as owners, as people on the same level. So yeah, it's beautiful, and I'll be willing to share the ups as well as the downs, and what I thought about the transition from coming from the individual mindset to the collective mindset.
Ashe, thank you. So the first question I'm going to be kicking to both of you all, but we'll ask Mama Mia to start. The question is, what's a normal meeting look like in your co-op, and how does facilitation work?
Normal meeting and how does facilitation work? So a normal meeting would be, generally we all have a check-in, and I don't just go into a meeting cold. I always prepare, even if it's only 10 minutes before the meeting, so that so that you can sound smooth. And let's see, facilitation, we kind of rotate so that it doesn't get boring and everyone can get a chance to try it. So it's generally rotating, facilitation, and meeting prep, I feel, are key. I'm complete.
Bless. Thank you. What about you, Tat?
Yeah, similar as Mama Mia. One thing that stands out for me is that, it's not like the traditional sense where you go, the one person, the facilitator, the boss, the manager, he kind of has his ideas, what he wants to get accomplished, his mission, and then we have marching orders, and maybe there's some questions or comments at the end, versus doing it in a co-op setting with my cooperative and the cooperatives I'm a part of. We actually participate in together to create the agenda. People have spaces where they can sign up, like Mama Mia said, to facilitate, or maybe you want to note take. It's really a team effort, and over time you see people kind of naturally get comfortable in positions that they're very good at, or they just they're familiar with, and the rest of the team supports. I mean, even if you're the one to go, sign people in because people come in late, and what I'm saying, are keep time, like let them know. It's really a team effort. The meetings seem very inclusive, and it just seems like we get a whole perspective instead of just one person's view about the problem and how to go about solving it. It's really a team effort, and even the meeting, something as simple as a meeting, is done collectively, and I see tremendous benefits when we do that. We walk away from there feeling like we have great marching orders instead of feeling like we've just been dictated to for like an hour.
Ashe. Thank you both. And thanks y'all, the couple of y'all that came in a little bit late. This is our Q&A on meeting processes and facilitation with Tut and Mama Mia. We may have a third participant joining in later in, but if you guys have, or if you all have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And we'll also open it up if you wanna unmute, ask questions, and have a dialogue. So Mama Mia, I'm curious, what's a bad meeting experience that you've had, and how could it have been better?
I'd say a bad meeting experience is when people are upset and there's no, how do I say? People are upset, but there's no facilitator to help. How do I say this? Either see the positive or bring it around so that it doesn't end on a negative note. Yeah, I think the hardest meetings are when people are upset and trying to hear everyone, but not just stay in a negative space. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but yeah, those are the worst. Especially if, like I said, there's no facilitator, no one to bring it around, and it just ends on a negative note. That's not good.
I hear that. We had in our I don't know, transmission yesterday, we were talking about the roles of facilitator, and it's sounding like, if the facilitator ends up being a participant in like a really heated moment, it just makes it really difficult for everybody.
Yeah, you got to come out of that. Otherwise, I mean, it can break up a whole group if you're not able to harness it and pull it back from that negative space.
Thank you. Tet, you want to add into that?
Yeah, just to veggie back on that, it's my experience is like when people make the we statements, speaking from their own view, but speaking for the group, it really stales the energy. A good way to go about it is what we practice is, making I statements, but in a reflective way, like I think, or this is what I feel we should do, but leaving it up for consensus, leaving it up for the group to decide collectively, like, hey, that sounds good. I can resonate with that. And, we can all agree and see that this is the best way to go about it versus somebody just taking over the meeting saying, we need to do this. And I'll, just bringing that real stale, stuck um, you know, um, stubborn, like I'm not going to change what I'm saying, and this is it, and I'm ready to go to war. Versus let's constructively build a solution together. And I think going into meetings like that, which is the best way that I feel that we've been able to get so much done because everybody comes in with the same mindset, like okay, how we're going to get through this meeting, what's the problem, what's the best way to come to a solution, whether I come up with it, Mama Mia, Brother Greg, it doesn't matter. It's a great solution and it's going to benefit us all versus saying, okay, we about to go to war and I want my idea to win. Normally when that happens, the meeting is stagnant and items or agendas are left there, and we have to come back to it the next day because we have to deal with the real issue is somebody having a problem.
This leads me into my next question, Tet. I'm curious, like in your experiences, how your groups prioritize, like what to, focus on, and like what goals to set out and accomplish.
Well, right now with the Juju, we're really trying to keep the energy high. We want to make sure that folks are doing things that they love to do. All right. I mean, everybody's not going to love to keep the books. Okay. Everybody's not going to love cleaning the crystals and organizing everything, but we can all assign things that we're comfortable with, and and like try to maximize and put more energy into things that we like to do. So, the way we go about that is just kind of like checking in, having a real check-in with each other. And we try to keep it open to like our interests, no matter what they, and then we formulate the agenda and the focus of the co-op to our interests, things that get us excited, things that we like to do. And by our luck or just by the chance of putting that first, the money comes. The money comes, the success comes. And we try to stick to that model, because we all want to win. We all want to be happy, but we also know what it is to be doing something that you don't necessarily love just for the money. So we don't put the money first. We try to put things that we like to do, and then also execution, things that we can execute and get done. And we're starting to see tremendous results from that.
Bless, thank you. Mama Mia, before I kick the same question over to you, want to ask the cohort I'm on the line to start thinking about questions or, things to add into the conversation. But before that, Mama Mia, can you let us know how your groups have prioritized and figured out what goals to, set out and achieve and things like that?
Oh yeah, we co-create the agenda. Well, we go over what we think we're going to talk about, and then we open it up for people to put things on the agenda. After everyone puts everything on the agenda, then we set times together. And setting the times for each subject helps you to figure out the priorities, the priority and how much time a thing will need. So, for example, someone might put an item on the agenda, oh, we need to talk about funding. And so there's 5 people, and oh, yeah, we got to talk about funding. Well, how long will that take? Well, it's kind of quick. I just got to give some, updates. Or, well, this is kind of a big problem. We might want to give this some more time. And so in this way, we can kind of prioritize stuff, and it works pretty well.
Okay, bless. Thank you. So I'm seeing D put into the chat. What are some of the challenges faced when starting cooperatives? And maybe you can talk about it through the meeting perspective, but if not, go ahead and answer the question.
Is that for me?
Either of you, but yes, please go ahead.
The challenges to starting a cooperative from a meeting space is getting everyone to agree on one item that is a problem for everyone. So, for example, in Authentic African, we decided to start a study group. And so we meet monthly and we talk about, we study about cooperatives. And then during those studies, sometimes, you get inspired or a problem comes up or a common problem or a common theme that people always seem to, talk about starts emerging. And what we did is from that common theme that emerged, which was all of us talking about how hard it is to break into the internet, how hard it is to have enough pictures and content for the internet as a small business. So that everyone could get behind, oh yeah, everyone had pain about that point. And so we're like, okay, so we've discovered a common thing. Let's see what we can do together to mitigate it. And so that's how our content creation cooperative started, from identifying a common problem, people being excited about trying to work on that problem, and something that they want to do together. So that's my answer.
Can you just give a little bit of context about that content creation crew? Because that is kind of a new project that may be a cooperative, and you're kind of stewarding it along. So that might be helpful too.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, it started from classes, from individuals who were involved in Authentic African, whether it be they had their own small business or they helped work it. So many times as artists, we work different projects, different jobs. We're doing a lot, right? So we can connect in different ways. So Authentic African is a clothing brand, and we're trying to break, the COVID started, so no live sales. So we were thinking, how do we get on the internet and, keep our business going? And other people who had, whether they're single artists or had their own small businesses felt the same way. And so that was the context. We were like, what do we do to break into the internet, get content, get our pages, keep it fresh, keep it going. And because we all had a common problem like that, we formed to start sharing photography, sharing video costs, sharing, just sharing the cost to create content to put on the internet.
Ashay, thank you.
Is that clear, or more questions? Any questions?
Let's see, are there any more questions from the cohort for Mama Mia or Tet about meeting processes or, ins and outs of co-ops?
Yeah, I got a question. When things did go wrong, how was it brought back together? Or what was some of the witnessing of, how it was sewed together?
So it takes someone with a different perspective. So and it's not easy. So I had to ask for help. I went to Greg And actually, what we did was come at it from a completely different angle, not about the anger, not about the actual situation, but the underlying issue. I'm trying to get it so I can explain it better. Greg, you actually are the one I went to for help. Can you speak to it?
I can do my best.
Let me tell you the situation I'm talking about. We were all upset because of values and someone saying something on the internet, and we just didn't agree. We wanted to, it was about values and hurting people's feelings. So.
Yeah, I think in that moment, we first realized that, we didn't really have any shared expectations around it. So, we had to move through the being upset part and, get everyone to be like, yeah, we actually didn't have any, shared expectations. So one person being upset kind of based on their own personal values, whereas another person not being upset, it's kind of based on, the personal values that they have. But when we are building co-ops or collectives, we're essentially creating amalgamations of all of our values and dreams and those kinds of things. And though we try, not everything is said up front. And so, it just takes a bit of practice, patience, empathy, to realize, if something comes up, we don't necessarily have to blame anyone. We just need to figure out, if we can, what is that underlying issue, as Mama Mia said, and what are the ways that we can address it, so that the group can continue moving forward and doing awesome stuff. In the case that tension or a rift is so deep that you may need an outside facilitator, and even then, it's not really feeling like it's moving. Yeah, that's one of the tougher situations. I've been through that with a cooperative where, there were things not expressed up front. We had tensions about it. I don't think we were able to notice in the moment that it was because there was a lack of tension or a lack of clarity. I think we were actually trying to bring clarity, and so that there were differing definitions for what the co-op should be doing in this activity stream. We got an outside facilitator, did a few sessions that way. We were able to, I guess, find common understanding of each other by help of that outside facilitator, who was able to listen to what we're saying without having a stake in the matter, and having them help us identify what that root cause was. I think in this case, the one that I'm thinking, it was disrespect, and doing the actions necessary to heal that wound and support the co-op moving forward. Any other questions? Comments? Were you about to say something, Mommy?
I was just going to say, yeah, finding that point of discussion kind of took it off of the anger and more into the how can we fix this? How can we, getting people brainstorming how, what they'd like to see. It just changed the focus, which allowed people to calm down.
And another added point, like Brother Greg and Mama Mia was saying, establishing the vision and the mission of the cooperative and the values of the cooperative, so you can always go back and point to those values as this is what we agreed upon. So if individually somebody is kind of teetering off away from that, we can always all point back, say, hey, we said we're going to provide this type of customer service. We weren't going to let certain things bother us, and we were going to take this approach. and the person is able to self-evaluate and be held accountable by the group. And I think that just really helps. Having the foresight, sitting down, doing some of this tedious stuff, some of these tedious things like mission, values, agreements, expectations. Yeah, they will come back and be tremendous benefits in the long run if you can just assign some time to do it in the beginning, and it really helps.
All right, I got another question. So say besides the facilitator, you have somebody. I remember yesterday we was looking at somebody like who would dominate the conversation, or anybody have to deal with that, and any kind of solution concerning that?
Yeah, I think we all have that capacity to be the dominator or the quiet one, or those other traits we saw in that video yesterday.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that they mentioned in that trait is doing what they call a round robin, just like setting an order so everyone gets a chance to speak. And maybe that dominating person isn't the first one to speak, so they don't like suck up all of the air in the beginning. Something that we had talked about in the past in terms of like nonviolent communication. If you all were able to hear Tet talking about it, he had mentioned like talking from I statements, not really talking about we, or like placing assumptions on the group. Like those are also things that like support in that effort. Mama Mia or Tet, anything you want to add?
Every time I've heard and you've used those nonviolent or, the war of the words, it's very helpful. I need more of that work.
Yeah, we're taking the war out of our words, not bringing them in.
Yeah, the no war words, that's the one.
Yeah. And I guess it's kind of getting to that point too, where it's like, we don't want to treat every conversation as a battle that we have to win or we're going to lose, right? We want to try and shift our thinking and expectations around conversations as well. So maybe like, when you're thinking about the dominator, yes, they're taking up a lot of space. You may, share with them like, hey, for me, it's very hard to be in this meeting right now because I feel like I can't participate because all of the meeting time is sucked up by, it'd be hard to not say anything like stabbing or let's see, the meeting time is sucked up by this person's like, I don't know. I'm trying not, how do I say? I guess I'll just have to say it. Sometimes you just have to say things that are hard or like let people see you stumble through it. But because this dominator is like taking up so much time in the meeting space, you will let them know like, I'm having a hard time participating because there's no more time. Like I need for you to, stick to the time limit that we set so everyone can be involved rather than, what we've been doing. That would be one approach with the nonviolent communication and speaking from I statements and letting folks know how you feel about the situation without necessarily trying to blame them for what's happening.
One thing we do, if this helps, is we put everybody speak for a minute, everybody speak for 2 minutes, on the round robin. And then we have a really aggressive timekeeper. That's like 1 minute, just, they just blast through and really, really aggressively keep time. That actually helps, especially if they're like non-passionate about it. Just, no, time's up and, you just cut off. That's it. Yeah, we have one lady who does it for us. She's the best. Never lets anybody hog the conversation.
Yeah, but that's all. That lady is also kind of like not a part of the group in some ways, right? She's kind of like external. So she like, you know, she's not trying to preserve relationships necessarily. She's just like, look, you all asked me to keep time. This is the time. And that's kind of like,
That's true.
that's kind of what that like facilitation material we were reading yesterday was talking about. Like it's good for the facilitator to be kind of like not as involved and be a little bit separate to help the thing move forward.
Uh,
I appreciate y'all for you know, tapping in, asking questions. I'm going to just end this recording. So, you know, we stick to 30 minutes. If you all need to go, you're welcome to. But if there's more questions, you know, if Mama Mia is able to stay, we can keep going. But yeah, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Yeah, hope you all are taking some jewels away from this. I appreciate y'all, and you know, the next one is Wednesday at 8.